Angela, it's 2 months before the local elections, but you're here to part of the launch for Labour. Confident?
I'll never be overconfident in politics, big mistake. But what I do know is we've got lots of people out and about on the doorsteps talking to people and getting the good feedback. People are very worried and very anxious at the moment. A lot of the things the government are doing are directly affecting people for the worse. Our voluntary sector is losing out, people have lost their jobs, and people worry about losing their jobs, and they worry very much about the health service. So that's the kind of conversations we're having with people, and we hope they come out and vote for us on the day because we want to make a difference.
Do you think you talk about the things today, even this morning, the news about there are going to be people with mortgages who are woken up today, possibly a 40% increase? That must be a worry.
It is. I remember my first mortgage on a interest rate of like 16-17%, and even if it went up 1/4%, you worried if you could afford it the next month. And to go back to those days would be absolutely horrendous. But even now we're seeing about 0.5% or 1%. When people are worried about their jobs, they've spent their savings, that could tip them over the edge. And I think these are very, very difficult times. The anxiety is palpable out there.
I know these are local elections, but obviously what goes on in Westminster does, and you still have your finger on the pulse. But will a lot of people on the doorstep feel that David Cameron is taking care of business, perhaps more than they have confidence in Ed Miliband?
That's not what I'm picking up. I haven't picked up much about personalities of either leader, to be honest. It's the big issues that affect people. Can I keep my home? Will I lose my job? Will I get healthcare when I need it? Will there be support when I need it? And when you see things like Tories and Liberal Democrats going through the division lobbies to cut benefits for disabled children and take support away from cancer sufferers, you share their worries and concerns.
You stand up on a number of issues in the House of Lords. Prepayment meters came up recently. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Well, this is the big issue for many people, is how do I pay my electricity bill or my gas bill? And people on prepayment meters pay a higher rate than those who can afford to pay by direct debit. And the answers I've got from the government, I think, are unsatisfactory. So what I'm pressing for is that the people who have the least, and many people on prepayment meters have had a debt or missed bills in the past, and have the least. The people who have the least shouldn't be paying the most. And I'm not going to let it go.
And whilst we're going across a number of issues, about 3 years ago we spoke about, there was a circus in Orsett which had live animals. I know you weren't happy about it then, but there has been progress in regards to legislation, is that right?
Well, it's progress for salt. My issue has always been we shouldn't have wild animals performing in circuses. The government now, after a lengthy campaign, votes in the House of Commons, cross parties, the government now says it agrees with that and it will be in legislation. What I don't understand is they say they don't know when they can do it, and in the meantime they're going to bring in a licensing regime. Now if they're going to bring in a licensing regime with all the costs of that, the enforcement, the bureaucracy that goes with it, why not just ban the wild animals in circuses? So while I welcome the government's statement, I'm a bit worried it's going to be a long way down the road before we see any progress.
Thank you very much.